This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. I don't know if it was a stroke or not, but I'm Shane.
I'm JP.
Way to match it. All right. So further steps, we have sound deadening material for the wall in my garage.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
Whoop,
so
whoop.
we're one step closer. So we got a camera, we got sound deadening material.
We ordered
We
a
have
fancy sign.
And we ordered, yes,
Kind of. I mean,
fancy enough.
fancy enough.
So look up LC Signs on Instagram and just watch his videos.
Yeah.
We ordered a sign from him.
Yep.
Hopefully we get it. And if not, it was worth watching the video.
Definitely. He sold us.
He did.
He absolutely sold us.
For sure got us. So we do have a sign coming.
It
So
was mostly nothing about the sign.
not at all. We're like, oh, Andy makes signs.
Yep.
But it was really good. But it is from China. And so I'm sure it'll take a while if we get it. I wonder what the tariffs are going to be like.
Yeah, right. I wonder if that was included already in the shipping and all of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but we're just one step closer. So hopefully one of these days we'll pull the trigger and you actually see our faces.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
My beard gets whiter and whiter, so
I know mine's getting a little whiter as well. Not as white as yours, but it's getting
holy moly.
here and there.
So I was looking at a picture from 2021.
Okay.
And I just had like a little bit right here.
Yeah.
Everything else was basically black.
Dang.
I am like almost white completely. It's incredible. I mean, I am white, but
Yeah.
like my beard
Yeah.
is gray.
Well, that's like me. Like within the past year or so, I'm like, oh, I'm losing hair on top of the old head, right? Like, because I don't grow it out that much, so I usually shave it off. And now, like growing in, the kids are like, oh, you kind of gotta have a bald spot going on. I was like, yeah, I gotta go back to shaving it all off again.
So my mom will walk by and just, so my mom lives with us. She'll just walk by and pat the bald spot. and I look at her and I go, you might have brought me in this world, but I can take you out. She's like, try me, punk. Whatever.
Oh, you happened to trip down the stairs, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Oops. Sorry, the basement door was closed as I shut it.
Yeah.
Didn't hear you. Yeah, so just getting old. It's fun. But
Indeed.
I don't know if there's really anything else. What'd you do this last week?
I did. Man, I worked a lot just because our truck was late like almost every day by like 2 hours,
Ugh.
hour and a half.
Dude, it's
average.
like really good weather.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff happening at the plant. So I would get done going at like 8:30, get done like after 5. So like it's not bad, but it's the waiting around for the truck that like sucks to like start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And then today was really nice. Like went for a walk with the dog, was outside playing around for a little while.
It's like 50-ish almost.
Yeah, it was really nice.
For those of you that are like, that's not warm. That's really warm. That's almost tank top weather here.
Especially since we had such bad, we had really bad rain. I think Tuesday and Wednesday, like a ton of rain.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of flooding. And my backyard was an ice rink. Oh, it really was.
Is it gone now though?
Yeah, it's mostly dried up. I was worried. I mean, it happens every spring. We get a ton of rain, and then the ground's not fully not fully thawed out, and it just sits. And like past 2 years, we've had ducks come in just
in your backyard.
In our backyard.
That's awesome.
And then we have a little bit of kind of like a wooded area, and they actually made a nest, and there was eggs and stuff. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though. Yeah. That's pretty cool, except they run out of water.
Right. Yeah, all of a sudden it's gone, and
You're like, oops.
yep, sorry.
Wrong place.
I didn't know I was going to have waterfront property when I
Isn't that nice though? You didn't have to pay for it.
didn't have to pay for it.
Didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine was crazy too. Just working. But we're building out the donut shop, so I've been there basically all day, every day. Almost to a point where basically trades, plumbers, electrician come in and finish up what they need to finish up. I've already started putting drywall on the walls, which is great. Then spent all day in Crivets today. with the basketball tournament,
Okay.
which was cool. And then what did I do yesterday? I don't remember, but yeah, so we've been going. Oh, went down to the shop actually, since we've done everything and moved everything, and
Cool.
the simulator's actually out in the main area now.
Yeah, I've seen videos of it now.
Yeah, so it's nice because you get a longer run up. Played a couple rounds of the Link disc golf,
Cool.
which was fun.
The only thing I was looking at was Matt showed a video the other day, or I don't remember what it was. He's like, "Oh, we got the 2 putting lanes, and then the simulator is like in that like kind of like hallways area."
Yep.
And one of the baskets is like right in that lane of the discs and everything.
Yes.
I was like, boy, if somebody wants to use a simulator and then there's the putting lane, that's going to be a little difficult. But.
So the putting lane and the simulator. So there's the marksman one where we just move that marksman basket over. But the simulator, there's probably 15 feet now that's clear. There's nothing around it, so you can take a full run up and throw.
Nice.
And then the putting baskets, they've always been through the aisles of the discs.
Got it.
So it's good enough, but it could be better. But with the space we have, which is still the largest by square foot disc golf shop in Wisconsin, it's the best we can do.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I mean, as long as you're not throwing discs in anybody, like have fun. We have like lines set up for 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30, I think. And they do putting league there as well still. So, but it's pretty fun. But we'll be bulking up. We just received a bunch of MVP today, actually. I saw the delivery for tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And then, and then we'll be doing some more like discraft, like some of the new discraft drops we're ordering as well. So, yeah, we should be seeing some stuff pretty soon. And our first tournament is about 3 weeks away.
Wow.
3.5 weeks away. So,
Oh.
yeah, so we're excited about it. It's getting pretty good. So, thought-provoking question for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
If you were randomly given the power of invisibility, what would you use it for?
Invisibility.
Ooh. So if you just woke up one day and all of a sudden you realize you had the power of invisibility, what would you do with it?
I don't feel like I'd get too far.
Keep running into stuff?
Yeah. No. I mean, you'd obviously be able to see it and everything, but it's not like you could magically get somewhere that you'd want to be. Like, you're like, oh, I'd love to be in this situation, and like someone's like in a locker room or like in the White House just to like see like day-to-day
like what's
things.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably just pull pranks on people.
Okay.
Like pretend like go somewhere and be like, oh, this place is haunted. Like the big hotel that's in Sister Bay.
Oh, yeah.
You just like push furniture around or, just do weird stuff like that. So people are like, what the heck is going on?
Would you pull like the MIB thing where he like grabs the table and like pulls it across the room?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Just make random noises. Yeah.
So, but here's the question. Clothes or no clothes? Right? You wake up invisible.
Right.
I mean,
no clothes.
yeah.
This is nobody knows.
But isn't that weird though? But what happens if all of a sudden you're visible again?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you sneeze and kind of come into existence for a little bit, like, and you're like, oh.
Or what if like all of a sudden you like something spills on you, right? And like you got to wipe yourself off real quick so like nobody can see. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Invisible Man with Kevin Bacon, right?
Yep.
Oh, right? Yeah, it was Kevin Bacon.
Yes. And then, well, there was a new one that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh, there was.
Too. It's more horror filmish.
Oh. Where he like kind of uses it for bad. Although Kevin Bacon was a creep, dude.
Yes, he was. He absolutely was.
He was a creep. In that one.
It's got it's got the girl from Handmaid's Tale in it, and she used to be on Mad Men. I can't think of her name. But yeah, it came out a couple of years ago.
Huh. Okay. So if I were to become invisible, what would I use it for? What would I do? I think the prank thing is probably no. I would like to go to a department store.
Okay.
So like Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that.
Okay.
Where they have things and just start launching like Nerf balls all over the store for no reason, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's like in Dick's, you just like pick up a bunch of the wiffle balls and stuff and just start hucking them all over the store.
Yeah.
I think that'd be hilarious. And they would just be for funsies, you know?
Oh, they have I think there's like batting cage in there or something so you can test out bats and all that. Just have the bat swing it.
Yeah. Dude, how weird would that be? Just like connecting with the bat.
Yeah.
Just see a ball get picked up and put on, connecting.
Or just put clothes on, like replace a mannequin and just stand there with clothes on and it's just like floating there.
Yeah. That would be awesome. And obviously you just see it reach out. Yeah. There's a lot of fun stuff I could do. I could figure it out. Or go into like Best Buy and just start playing the consoles.
Yeah.
That would be cool
are
too.
Playing themselves.
But it would be weird. Like, so the hard part with, that's not an appropriate verb for it. So the part that would be difficult would be that you're naked.
Yeah.
What if you bump into somebody or something like that?
Right.
Well, and you don't.
Or somebody just bumps in. Like, you'd have full awareness of what's going on, but like somebody bumps into you. Like,
but
that's
you know,
weird.
there's still depth perception, and you don't walk around stores with your wanker out, you know?
Right.
So, like, you're going to run into stuff. Guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I would like that. That would be weird.
True.
Because usually you have, like, boxers and pants.
Yeah.
And it kind of holds everything where it should be.
Right.
But if you're running through somewhere.
No.
I've never ran naked. Have you ever ran naked?
No, I don't think I have.
You ever disc golf naked?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Just curious.
Yeah.
Asking for a friend.
Yep. Sure.
All right.
Good stuff.
What we got going on today is got the go throw. We'll talk a little disc golf world. And then we have 15 disc golf beginner mistakes that we'll talk through.
Yep.
And see if we agree with the list or not. So it's a list I have from some website. We'll just go through it and talk about it.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds pretty good.
All right. So before we start, door_disc_golf, night_owls_pod, and then doordisc.com where you can buy all your disc golf needs.
Indeed.
Or go to the shop, 550 North Military Avenue in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Excellent.
All right. Ready?
Sure.
You talk go throw because I didn't watch any of it, but really did anybody. Except for the people there.
Tough question. So, yeah, I mean, the hype is kind of building behind it. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but it's post-produced, which, I mean, a lot of people like post-produced. Luke Humphreys and Paul Ullman are doing commentary. The tournament itself was extremely wet. They had a lightning delay for round one. I was watching Instagram yesterday, and they kept having updates. Like, all the pros are, huddled under one of these, pavilions and everything, and like waiting for the round to start.
Were like the top pros out there, like Wysocki, Macbeth?
No, not Wysocki. Gannon Burr was there.
Okay.
Isaac Robinson, James Conrad.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of who else was on.
Nico was there.
Nico was there. Matt Bell was there. Trying to think of who else was on lead. Oh, Nicholas Antala was there. He was on lead card. So yeah, Go Throw, Ace Run Productions. They're doing chase card, and there's somebody else filming the FPO, which I didn't get a chance to hear who it was.
Birdie Productions.
That very well could be.
I think it was Birdie Productions.
Okay, Birdie Productions. That very well could be. And then I only saw the GoPro stuff. I didn't see the chase card stuff.
Okay.
So the course itself, the Hideaway Disc Golf Ranch or whatever it's called. Yeah. Is that what it's called? Yeah. It's a lovely course. Super muddy. It would have been muddy regardless. But it's funny just watching the whole flyovers with the drone and everything. They must have shot it like earlier in the week because it wasn't bad. They're cruising through and everything. And all of a sudden it's like hole one and like, okay, it's like a downpour.
It's like a swamp.
Yeah. And the first thing, and James Conrad suffered because he couldn't get his run-ups.
Yeah.
So he had to shorten his run-ups on all these tee pads. But like he still did the full send, off the edge. And he's like, wanting to fall off and everything. And it was a bummer.
Yeah.
But all these people, like hole 2 for sure is just this, it's fairly open, goes straight ahead. and just mud around the basket, mud everywhere. And so everybody's putting, their discs are getting stuck. They're caking mud. Like, you just can't get the mud off their shoes.
And it's West Texas, right?
Yeah.
So that's like clayish.
Yeah.
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 Ugh.
And a lot of holes, big puddles. Like, Isaac Robinson had to step in like water like a couple different times because of the way his disc felt, and like he was wearing waterproof shoes. He has the new Vessies that he's sponsored by them, so he's wearing those. And I forgot what holes. One hole towards the end that you could just tell that it was slight incline down to the basket. I think it was hole 15 or 16 or something like that. And Gannon threw a really great shot and ended up pretty close. But he was trying to like make his way down this incline, and you could just see him like struggling, like trying to like
slip in.
Yeah.
Man.
And then, but I mean, it was a good round. I think the best score yesterday was -4.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta look it up. So here's the other thing is, live scoring was on UDisc.
Yep.
Unfortunately, UDisc doesn't use UDisc Live anymore because
Right.
it's not part of the Pro Tour. So you have to go into UDisc, go into events, had to look up
Look up the event.
look up the actual event itself, and you had to type it in and everything. So
Right.
yeah, Gannon ended up finishing with a -6 for round one, which was really good. There's only 5 pros that finished under.
Wow.
James Conrad was on lead card, and he finished with a +12. Like, he's throwing his detour a lot, and he's trying to hit some lines. Like, excuse me, there was some fairly wooded holes, like deep, kind of like almost like us wooded
Wisconsin
holes.
wooded, yeah.
Yes, and just suffered. I mean, there's one hole, I forgot, I think it was on the front 9 that you just had to like hit this shot. It might have been hole 8, or maybe it was on the back 9. I can't remember what hole it was. You like throw it off the tee, and you hope to make it kind of like a landing zone, and then it was like a spray and pray situation from there, to get up to the basket. And James Conrad actually threw a pretty nice sidearm roller out, and then Antilla had some trouble. He got kicked off to the right-hand side or left-hand side, and he tried to do the same thing and threw it out and like ended up clipping something. And I don't know, like, coverage was good. Towards the end of the round, it got really dark because they were trying to, catch up with the being delayed. So they were like, the camera, Luke and Paul were talking about, he's like, the camera's actually doing really well for us because it provides more light than there actually is like showing.
Oh, sure.
So it was actually way darker in person than what the camera was actually showing. And you could tell by hole 17, hole 16, 16, 17, 18, like they kind of got back in the woods, 17, 18. And the camera they were using some like lighter color discs so they could actually see.
Yeah.
But the camera, like, you could see the camera try to track and follow. It would get kind of grainy and dark.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it got interesting towards the end there.
Jeez, yeah. And so something to point out, it is not a sanctioned event by the PDGA.
Nope, yeah, it is not sanctioned.
And there were some weird things you had said that they get points for their placement, but they also get posts for posting online, social media.
Yes. So I tried to look up the score system because I saw it earlier today or last night, and somebody else was talking about it. And yeah, what happens, or I was listening to Ultiworld. I think that's what I was listening to the other day. And they were talking about it. So what happens is you get so many points for, for a second, whatever you place. And then I think there's like a 20-point bonus or something like that if you post about the tour on like social media, on Instagram or whatever. I don't know if it's after the round or after the tournament.
Is that a one-time 20-point bonus, or is it a per tournament?
That's a good question. Like, I didn't see enough about it.
Okay.
It might be at every tournament. I don't know.
We'll have to pull up for next episode. We should pull up kind of the rules and background and structure.
Yeah, because I went on Go
because
Through.
they just recently came out.
Yeah, I'm on Go Through Tours website right now, and like the only thing they have up is shop, partnership, tickets, tour schedule, And I'm trying to look and like, you know, they have the burger menu and there's nothing there as far as
burger menu.
yeah, so
Yeah. No, I get it.
yeah. And so I can't really find anything about that. So with it being non-sanctioned, well, the other cool thing about the tour is that they still run skins the same time as the event. They have a thing called Beat the Pro.
Yeah.
And that's your chance to win like $10,000 or something like crazy. I don't know if that's like 10,000 total throughout the year or what the situation is.
Yeah.
So they do have other things going along. And I don't remember if it was last year running skins. They actually kind of had a skins tournament championship. Okay. And they invited, I think, like some of the top guys, like Gannon was there. I think Calvin was there. I don't remember who else, but they played for like a championship belt situation. And I was like, well, couldn't you just do that as like your tournament, right? And then just have like the top money winners from that, like move on. But I mean, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah. Now, was this the one that? No, this wasn't the Sexton skins match. No, that was a Player Pro or whatever that was.
Right. No, that was the big money skins with that was Sexton. Simon was supposed to be there. He didn't play, I don't think. Brody Stokely, who ended up winning. Yeah. And then was it Eagle? I feel like Eagle was supposed to be there, but
maybe.
But he got hurt.
Yeah.
So somebody else filled it, and maybe
it's like Eagle's Landing or something.
That's exactly that's where it was.
Yeah.
And so there was the big thing with they were trying to do live. Yeah. And it got messed up, and they couldn't continue on doing it. So like the pay thing got all weird, and then they ended up, I think, just giving it away to people.
Yes.
Okay. So that got all messed up.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So, I mean, it sounds like, other than the weather, everything seemed to go pretty well. We'll know when post-produce comes out. Well, the final, of course, post-produce comes out.
I have the final scores.
Okay.
I mean, spoiler alert for people right now. I'm just going to go through I'll go through the top 10 MPO real quick, and I'll go through. There's not as many FPO. There's only 10 females playing total.
Wow. Okay.
For right now. So okay, skip for the next 30 seconds or so. Yeah. Okay. Gandenberg wins 11 down, followed by Emerson Keith 9 down, Raven Newsom 8 down, Nicholas Antala 5 down, Austin Turner 4 down, Matt Bell 3 down, Chandler Kramer 1 down, Nico Even, Gavin Babcock +2, Jesse Niemanen +3. So that's the top 10. FPO goes Cat March Even, Rebecca Cox +5, Maria Leva +6, Allie Smith +8, Madeline Payton +9, Hannah Wynn +9, Deanne Carey +13, Taylor Chosek +13, and then Isabella Parker +35. So, okay. And then
go check out. Do you know what the payouts are?
I do not. It didn't say anything about payouts on UDisc. That's kind of the nice thing about having PDGA Live is, they have the payouts in the event page. It does give their round ratings, UDisc round ratings.
Which I have no clue what they mean. I've gotten ratings before, but I have no clue what they mean.
I don't necessarily know how they're tabulated or what the situation is there. But what's funny is I was on UDisc and, going on the homepage and said, I haven't used it to score because I just keep scoring in my head most of the time. Last played 591 days.
Jeez.
That's the last time I used UDisc, right?
Yeah.
That's not the last time I played, but that's the last time I used.
Yeah. Well, they said I only did 5 rounds last year. I was like, I played way more than 5 rounds for sure.
All right. So do you want to hear something else about this tour?
Yes, please.
I sparked some controversy this morning on Reddit.
Yes. I love that.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
So here's what happened. I knew the tour was going on, and I knew there was post-produced, and so I got up early, and I'm like, oh, I'm up early. Hopefully, post-produced is out. This was at 7:30 in the morning, and I was like, I go on YouTube, and I go through everything. I was like, members only. Crap. And I was like, but they promised post-produced. And so It's, one of those situations where you get early access if you're a member.
Oh yeah, and then they drop it after.
And so I just was like, oh, and like they don't tell you when these members only things, like how long you have to wait. Is it a couple hours like that there's access? Is it a day when they're processing post-produced? And so I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, this kind of sucks for the podcast because like I was like hoping to talk about it and everything, and then we're not gonna have much to talk about except scores if we go on UDisc.
Yeah.
And I just went on Reddit and I was like, oh, I was really hoping to watch like for anybody looking today, so it says the tournament is members only right now. Typically these things, will, could be a day, could be a couple hours, like who knows?
Could be, who knows?
It doesn't know. I don't know.
Yep.
And I just said, if you're not a member, you're gonna have to wait. Not the biggest deal, but like, what do you think about this situation? And I got like the full gamut of like people like, oh yeah, it kind of sucks, to like have it behind the paywall right away.
Yeah.
And then there's other people that are like, just pay the $5, whatever. Sure. Like the whole thing. And they're like, some people are like, well, yeah, of course you're gonna have to pay, or you should pay to help support the tour and all this. And full disclosure, I was a GoPro or GK Pro VIP skins member for like 2 years. And I decided like I need to like cut back. I mean, $5 a month.
Sure.
Not much. $60 a year or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just like at the time I was like, well, I kind of need to save some money for some stuff, and $5 adds up, after a while, like cuts into things.
Oh yeah.
And so the other thing is, I don't know, like paying for post-produced.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like I don't even pay right now for DGN just because the value for me right now isn't there. I'm working 2 out of the 3 days, so I can't watch it. And then the third day, I'm usually pretty busy on Sundays. So like,
it's on YouTube anyways.
Yeah.
The third day.
No, the first day is.
Oh, that's okay.
Isn't it? Like Jomez is now coming out with, is going to be streaming the first round on their channel. I thought that like they used to have it, the final round was free, and then they switched it up to the first round.
They did. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. GC, it's been that long since I've really actually actively watched.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things too where I'm not home enough to justify paying for live disc golf right now.
Well, especially with the increase. I mean, it's a lot more substantial now.
It is. It's a bit more. And then, if you don't have a PDGA membership, it's even a little more than that.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so I just kind of like it was funny because I was getting notifications. There's like 110 comments about this between everybody. And then it got upvoted a little bit earlier in the morning. And then once the coverage dropped at, I want to say
It came out from behind the paywall.
It came out from behind the paywall a couple hours later.
Yeah.
And it got downvoted as soon as it came out.
Oh, sure.
And then people were flooding. They're like, boy, this didn't age well. Oh, like, this is how they do it, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, hey, anytime I've ever watched their stuff, I get home from work, it's there. I have no idea. And that's how it used to be. Like, I don't remember them ever putting anything behind a paywall. But now a lot, recently, a lot of the stuff is going members only, just to, rate, get money for whatever you are, whatever content you are. I get that. People want to support you. That's what, like, but if you're paying for Patreon, if you're paying for this members only thing on YouTube, if you're already a tour, skins person, whatever it is, you're going to pay out an extra for this, for DGN. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, I get it. But I was like, so this guy's like, oh, this is their model. I was like, listen, I come home from work, it's on. I haven't watched them in a while. I was just looking, I have off this morning. I'm just looking for content. I didn't know that was going to be, and without them saying that it's behind a paywall to start and you're expecting to watch it, it kind of sucks. But,
It does. And it's funny. So you and I were on the front end, and we're actually to a point where there's generations of disc golfers that are listening to this that did not experience what you and I went through with having to sit through commercials and watching stuff on TV and paying like $80 or $90 a month for random crap on the television.
Right.
To transferring to buying only what you want.
Right.
And everything else is free, right? YouTube, all this stuff. Now we're seeing this trend to go back, all this entertainment that was free and just awesome. It was great. We could get rid of all the subscriptions and we were just paying one thing. If we wanted premium, YouTube, it was a little bit more.
Right. Like I'm paying for no ads.
Right.
Right. On like Disney Plus or Hulu.
And that's
or
a convenience thing. That's
right,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to watch ads. I'll pay $5.99 more or whatever.
Some stuff now on Disney and whatever, they're like, okay, we're going to give it to you no matter what, even if you have the no ads.
Would you rather have it in the beginning and they even ask you, would you rather have it now or
right.
Which ad do you like?
Well, I don't want it midway because that's terrible.
Yes,
like you're watching a program and all of a sudden something pops up midway through.
Yeah. It's funny to go to like motels and stuff and you watch something on the TV and your kids are like, what's going on? Can you skip this? And you're like, nope, this is commercials, buddy.
I know, right? Isn't that funny?
You get a 30-minute program and 10 minutes of it's commercials.
Yeah.
But that's how everything's swinging back. So it's actually kind of funny to see like the arc that we've seen, like didn't have a choice. Ads were ads.
Yeah.
Like commercials were commercials. And then we went to this whole like, get rid of it, cut the cable, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we're back to the cut the cable now is like there's ads every freaking where. Like even more so than there was with cable TV.
Oh, very true.
I would almost like to go back to cable TV, other than the fact that you can't choose what you want to watch when you want to watch.
I was thinking about that the other day as well. Like, boy, cable seems so much better nowadays than having to pay for all these different things. But
like, put a DVD back in my hand,
Yeah.
All I got to do is take the ads out of the front cover and throw it away.
Exactly. So, and, I get it. If you're one of those people who wants to pay for the, even Jomez on DGN, like you can pay for early access there as well for Jomez before it comes out on their channel on YouTube. And, a lot of these people, so they obviously monetize because you're getting commercials and everything. So, I mean, it's not like they're not making money, but the extra money that you are paying them for the early access is helping them more.
Right.
And I'm not opposed to people doing that. And I just explained my situation like, hey, I'm just really caught off guard by them saying
it's just different.
We have post-produced coverage and you're going to expect, I'm like waking up thinking it's just going to be there. Yep. And all of a sudden I have to wait. That's all that I was kind of like, okay, whatever.
I don't think that's unreasonable. It's outside the normal operations.
Right.
I mean,
especially if you're somebody that doesn't watch the channel a whole lot. And like, you're like, okay, I'm excited for this.
Yep.
And you go and then you're like, okay, I got to wait. And it doesn't tell you how long you have to wait. It was only a couple hours. It was like, 4 or 5 hours later. But by that time, I could have had stuff to do. Like, I'm usually bringing Dempsey to practice or whatever. I mean, it's not bad. Like, I just have to cram in watching stuff later before I come and like getting skids to bed and like doing all that other stuff before I come here. So it's like very tight window.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it has done for me is that I watch less coverage because more of it's behind paywall. And so I'm just less engaged with live disc golf anymore because I don't want to pay $70 just to watch, with all the paywalls and members onlys and all those things that you have to. Like, I'm not going to pay $70 for watching those things. And then by the time they come out behind paywalls or go live, then I've already listened to 7 podcasts that talk about it. So, I don't care anymore at that point. And I've seen 3,000 clips of it on Instagram. So I'm just like, well, it's just that doesn't appeal to me anymore.
Sure.
I'm sure there's some people that it does. It still do. But I think it knocks off that back end.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other people with that sentiment, too. They're like, well, by the time it comes out, depending on when it comes out, I'm already moved on to next week. Like, some guys like, well, Waco's next week. So, if I'm busy and this doesn't come out until whenever, and I normally watch it on weekends, well, I'm already moved on to the next thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I think that's what it is. I mean, and we're in that constant state of moving on. So you just end up losing coverage, or you don't watch coverage at all, basically, because you get your little snippets, you hear about it on your podcasts, and then that's it. and then I move on to the next week.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to go back and watch this 4-hour tournament when I got another 4-hour tournament I want to catch up on.
That's the other thing about DGN is, even if you are somebody who doesn't watch the tournament when it's happening and you want to go back and watch it, I don't know, like they have the highlights on YouTube and everything, but if you sit down and watch, you're sitting there for 3 hours. I mean, if that's something like, I don't want like all the between hole stuff. That's what's great about Jomez is like, you don't have to listen to Nate Doss tear my ear off in between holes.
But, just took my whole mood down.
Oh, sorry.
So that is, if I sat at a desk all day and I had the ability to just put it on in the background, I probably would.
Maybe, absolutely. I would.
Maybe. Depending on still a cost, thing. But that's the most likely place that I would have it on. Outside of that, like, I can't rock it in my truck while I'm driving or while I'm framing up walls or while I'm serving a customer at the restaurant or hotel.
You know what I used to do is on weekends when I would have when I had DGN, I would try to rig it up in my car and just like have the audio play.
Yeah.
On my speakers and everything. So I could at least hear it. But it's really hard for people to describe disc golf and not have the picture like, oh, this is a high turning hyzer, over these trees out on the right hand side of the hole. It's like, I can kind of picture the hole, but
they don't do a good job of description anyways.
Right.
Like, and I think that's the big issue with the announcers. Like, it would be great if there was some sort of partner program or sister program or something like that where it was only audio made to be listened to so they could paint that picture with the words. If there was some sort of companion audio form, I think it'd be awesome. Like you run it on podcast, like AM style radio.
Yeah.
Like, there's a very small population that would like that.
Right.
But it'd be nice.
Like I was listening to Crush Pepper the past couple of episodes, Simon and Eagle and Joey's podcast. And before, I think they do it during the episode, but the past couple episodes, they go through describing a hole at a certain course. Like, oh, you start at this and you go down gently and there's, OB on this side, left side is this, whatever. And then they try to guess what hole it is at what course. And you almost have to kind of do that, as a commentator, even watching, if there's not a whole preview or something, you got to try to, before anything comes up.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it's possible. And there are people that are good with the human language. But it's just like a book compared to a movie. Sometimes when you read the book, you have something completely different picture in your head. And it's completely acceptable. Like, it's awesome. And then you watch the movie and you're like, oh, that's not the way I thought about it. And I know this is reality compared to, but in the same regard, like let's say you're throw down the mountain or you're at Toboggan and you describe a hole and then you actually go there. Even if you see it on the camera, you don't realize how freaking steep and how high those hills or how low those valleys are. You just don't get it. There's no way. Or how tight that tunnel is where the red carpet is. You just cannot fathom it. Even if you're watching it, when you speak that into existence, your mind will play that fun game. And then when you actually stand in front of it, you're like, holy crap, there was no way I was even close to it, And that's how it was for me the first time I stepped on Toboggan's course. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, you get the iconicness of it and you see it and you're like, this is cool, but this is far or this is really low or this is really high. You just don't, you can't get that from anything outside of being there, So it sure would be nice to have those couple different ones. And if you had that companion, audio with it or something like that, that'd be pretty cool. But then again, it'd probably be behind a paywall. And
it might be.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So talking about all that, let's go on to Disc Golf World. So,
okay.
Disc Golf World, I think, does a good job with giving quick recaps. And obviously there's a very biased, look. So they get their interpretation of what is going on in disc golf that week, right?
Yeah.
Or day or whatever, however they do it. I think they do a good job of it. And I've always liked them for that. I've been watching them, for about a year and a half, or listening to them, watching them. And I've always enjoyed them because there's humor. They kind of go hard at things, that type of stuff. So we were speculating last week that some of that stuff is that the Disc Golf Pro Tour is butthurt by the stuff they say.
Right.
And that's why they didn't give them the media license, right?
Right.
You heard some more about it.
Right. Not the case. Disc Golf World came out with a video briefly talking about it. That was also behind a paywall for a little while, for like a day.
Of course, yeah.
Early
Makes
access.
sense.
So I watched it when it came out, and they went into, it wasn't defense mode, really. It was like clearing the air about what their situation was in the DGPT. There was a lot of speculation as far as, copyright. Well, I was the last comment on Disc Golf Pro Tour's video.
Disc Golf Worlds.
Disc Golf World.
Yeah.
Right. They put out the video. My comment was the very last comment. And I just, plain as day, I asked, what their situation was with copyright, because they do use a lot of Disc Golf Pro Tour's stuff. I was like, well, they're not really citing that they're using it, right? Like you just see it. And so there is fair use. And they went on and explained that. And I looked it up as well. Like, okay, you can use it as long as it's transformative and you're using it to explain stuff and everything. I still feel like you should be giving credit to,
for sure.
Whoever you got it from.
Yeah,
like
original source.
Yeah. Like we can see who it is, but you should probably put it in the video, like used courtesy of whatever. So, not copyright at all. Perfectly fine for them to use. They're actually part of an affiliate program with the DGPT. And basically what they had said was that one of the reasons was that they wanted to get out on tour and they were going to less stops. That's one of the reasons. And due to them going to less stops, that was one reason. The next reason was that, from what they were told in an email, that there was a flood of other influencers / channels and things that are trying to get media credentials as well. So the Pro Tour was kind of like, we have you part of this program. We have a lot of people coming in that want to basically do what you're doing, and we kind of had to shove you guys by the side. Which is a bit odd. Like, you're part of this program, you have these expectations. They traveled all last year. They went to like every event last year, sleeping in a minivan. I mean, go watch the video. Like, they'll tell you exactly what, I'm just kind of paraphrasing stuff here.
But it didn't sound like they weren't going to less events. It sounded like
they were going to like, so what they said is this, I think they were planning on going to 3 less events, but this year. They're going to go to Worlds. Like, that was part of the deal with them, like, traveling. Like,
and they still like have that.
They don't know if they're going to go
far.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, sounds iffy if they will actually do it or not. And so a lot of what they were able to cover, they really wanted to be able to showcase people that weren't necessarily being showcased. Like, seeing the people you see on lead card, chase card, but you're not seeing these people further down, third card, fourth card, that maybe need coverage, or you highlight them so you have an idea of what's going on. And then the other thing was that by them not being able to get to all the stops and everything, they said they had some business things lined up, merchandising, stuff like that. So that's part of it. I mean, that was a good majority of it. And then they, had brought up some like more comments, from Reddit and everything, discussing some like haters and stuff like that. And then following that, I think that came out Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Jeff Spring actually showed up on Tour Life with Brody and Yuli, and Jeff just kind of basically laid out what he was told from the media side of things, is that they weren't going to be at enough tournaments. They were issuing, same situation, they were issuing the media passes to some different people this year that they were trying to bring in and whatever, and that he was open to having a conversation with Disc Golf World about, and he said it's nothing to do content-wise. He doesn't, he actually likes the content they're putting out. He doesn't mind that they're critical or what they say, but so nothing disciplinary. And there's like, what else did they say? They said there's 2 or 3 times, I think twice, they said that there was actually disciplinary
3 times.
3 times, that there's actually disciplinary action that they we're not allowed to post something because it used bad language, which wasn't actually like.
Oh, that wasn't all 3 times. So one.
No, one was the bad language thing. Though,
Yeah,
right?
one was bad language, and then 2 of them were like not being in places where they needed to be.
Okay,
is all it was.
But it wasn't even like it wasn't like swearing. It was like just down talking something that they didn't agree with.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and then like also using the appropriate phrasing and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I guess if you sign a contract, you're making money off of this, okay, I guess it makes sense, I still don't quite agree with it because you're paying money to produce something that you essentially don't own and you have no creative license over.
Sure.
Essentially. Like, because in the end, Disc Golf Pro Tour could be like, you need to take that down. And that's what happened. They made them take something down.
They did, yeah.
So, because they were in an area they weren't supposed to be, even though they were invited in to look at these things, it was a basket thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, because it was when the Pro Tour was starting to do the
standards for baskets.
Standards, yes. Right.
So, yeah, it's weird. It sounds good. And I don't know if I have any reason to not believe spring, but it does seem very political. It does seem very, this is just how we had to do it. I'm willing to have a conversation after there's a big uproar about it.
Right.
I'm willing to have a conversation now. Why didn't you do it in the first place? Like, these people for the last 2 years have been there doing things, about them. They're one of the largest disc golf channels out there.
Right.
And then you can them. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It just still doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't.
And you're doing it out of fair play, giving the little guy a chance. What? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean,
well, if that's the case, we should sign up for a pass.
Oh, we should totally.
Definitely get it because we're the little guy.
We are very little. We could probably get something for like. I was thinking about that, like
for like Silver Cup or something.
Yeah,
like that.
right. Like USW DGC. Like if we could go get interviews or.
Well, we got a tent there, so.
Matt told me that. I asked him about it the other day. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty cheap actually."
Yeah,
like,
we got a tent there.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it is what it is. It's politics at play, and when the squeaky hinges start squeaking, you need to give them oil, and that's what Jeff Spring is doing.
Sure.
Because Disc Golf World people are disappointed that they're not going to get the same coverage that they would have gotten in the past. Now they're going to try to do the best they can with what they get, but that will affect them. It will affect their game plan and what they were planning on doing. So, but that's good. There's a little more clarification, and that video dropped. I think came out from behind the paywall, like almost a couple hours after we finished recording.
It very well could have.
Pretty much, because I think I watched it the next morning, if I remember right, or maybe even that night I might have watched it.
I don't remember when I watched it. I think it was next morning.
I think it was the next morning when I watched it.
Funny enough, I think you said last podcast you were talking about reaching out to influencers and like paying influencers money. Jeff Spring kind of hinted at that a little bit.
You're welcome, Jeff Spring. You're welcome.
Yeah, so I was listening to that. And he's like, because like Brody asked some question and he's like, well, I'm open to like reaching out to people and like doing, something with influencers, something of that nature. And I was like, that's exactly what Shane talked about last week. So,
well, just, we have a tendency as disc golfers, when I say we have a tendency to look at our tiny little sphere and not look outside of it. Like, oh, disc golf is this. But if you look at just the enormous platform that is social media and how business is being played or how business is being conducted on social media, that's how they're doing it.
Right.
Why wouldn't we take notes? Why wouldn't we, as in disc golfers, why wouldn't we take notes? Jeff Spring should be talking about that, and they should be talking with their media team that they have like 45 people on. I don't know how many people they have, but they have quite a few people on. Maybe like can one of those guys and take that money and sounds horrible, but free up some money.
The Doge of disc golf.
Exactly. Sorry. Watch out, Elon. I'm coming. But why don't you free up money in the marketing budget and give it to some influencers and have them talk you guys up and spread the word, that's one of the best ways you can do it. Because there are some Instagram, because that's really the only thing that I'm on ever anymore. But there are some Instagram influencers that are disc golf influencers that are huge. And if you give them a little bit of money to talk about the Pro Tour, they're going to, and it's going to get a lot more exposure, you know. So
for sure.
Yeah, so good job, Jeff Ring. You're smart. All right. You ready to get into the 15 beginner mistakes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time here. We can get through it. Okay. All right, here we go. And this is courtesy of Disc Golf United. So,
Why do I feel like I've heard of that?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
There's not too many disc golf sites out there, and this is one of them. So,
Very good.
all right. Beginner mistakes and how to fix
Is this like
them.
a ranking or is this just...
It is kind of a ranking. It goes 1 through 15.
Okay, but
and
like one's not the most egregious mistake, or is it?
1 is the most common
Oh, okay.
mistake.
Got it.
And then it goes down from there.
Ah.
So, when getting into disc golf, starting with the wrong discs. Many new players mistakenly throw discs that are too fast and too overstable and too heavy for their arm speed. What do you think?
Agree.
Agreed as well.
Yeah. But it is really hard unless you have somebody guiding you or somebody getting you into the sport. Mm-hmm. You have no idea what flight numbers mean or what overstable or understable is.
Right.
Unless you go to a disc golf shop, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that will go to a Dick's Sporting Goods or, you know, any kind of big box store and see discs and be like, oh, yeah, well, this feels good. This is, you know, whatever.
Right.
And just pick something up off the shelf without actually consulting or talking with anybody.
Well, and it says right on there, distance driver.
Right. What do you want to
do?
do? Yeah.
You're going to throw it far, like, right?
Yep.
I get it. I mean, that's essentially how I got my Valkyrie. Picked it up, and at the time, that was a distance driver. Yeah. And I picked it up, and I was like, yes. You know, absolutely, definitely going to throw this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. It is a big mistake. You know, you should start with slower, straighter, not understable, stable, like straight discs.
Mm-hmm.
I think understable is also a mistake that a lot
Right.
of people do. They'll
Because
throw like a neg 4 in their hands, like a meteor or something like that. Now you're going to be cooking them the other way.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, give them a straight disc, let them learn how to move it, and then go from there. Like a good, stable putter. Like, you know, like a judge, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. Just saying.
Just saying.
No, I think a judge is probably too stable for a beginner. If I were to give a beginner a disc, and I would love to say Comet, but the profile's not awesome for people.
Sure.
I would probably say something like no, not a meteor.
Soul?
Like a Soul would be a good one. A Bounty, like any of that realm.
You're
a
right.
Rock, you know, but try to keep the goofy rim. M4? No, M2. The Prodigy one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but, you know, something neutral, mid.
Yeah.
And if you want to get into that 6 range, like you know, with a little bit more of a bevel, like a Leopard or something like that.
Warship.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Those would be great discs. Great disc. Vandal's also a good one, but that gets into a pretty thick rim.
What's that?
Vandal.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty, 9-speed.
Yeah, it's a 9-speed. I mean, it gets into that thick rim.
Yeah.
But if someone wants to throw a driver, give them a Vandal. They'll
Sure.
feel pretty good about it, you know, and it's a good one to learn with. So, all right. Not understanding flight numbers properly.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. I mean, I think that's like picking up a golf club and understanding a loft.
Right.
And the pitch.
Pitch,
and,
yep.
Yeah, like, okay, I get it. Throwing too many different discs.
Okay. Well, how are you going to know what you like?
Yep.
So, I mean, I can see that, like, if you're playing, so, like, in your bag, I think you can have too many discs sometimes, right? Unless you really know what you're throwing, like to throw what you have them for that situation. But when you're first starting out playing, I love trying discs. Like, right? That's how you figure out what you like, what you don't like, what feels good, you know. That's part of the process.
Right. So I come at it from both angles. So I look at it as, yes, I agree. I think you can confuse yourself a lot of times because I do that with that 7 to 9 speed.
Yeah.
I like that 7 to 9, neg 1, you know, fairly like high glide, you know, pretty neutral disc.
Yep.
Love them. I probably have 4 different discs in my bag that do exactly the same thing.
True.
And as a beginner, you start to learn the discs you like, and you just try every single one of them, right?
Yeah.
So I can see where that can be confusing. Or you just buy every single disc you can get your hand on, and you never really learn the disc.
That's true.
You throw it a couple times, because there's discs that I have down there that I've had for almost 20 years that I probably threw once or twice, and I hated them the first 2 or 3 times I threw them, and I never picked them up again. Probably pick them up now and probably love them, or maybe I wouldn't, but I never gave them a chance to figure it out.
Right.
Now, the other side of me says, as a shop owner, buy as many discs as you can, because you got to try them all. Like, how do you know what you're going to like if you don't throw different discs? If you just listen to your buddy and say, hey, you need to have a Captain's Raptor because that's the best disc there is, how are you going to know what a Vandal fly's like?
Right.
Like, you got to throw it. And used discs are fantastic for that. There's almost always inevitably a used section in a disc golf shop.
Yeah.
Or in a Play It Again Sports or somewhere.
Yep.
You can buy these discs for half price usually and bring them back if you don't like them. You'll probably get a couple bucks back out of them. So
Why not?
Or leave them for the next guy. All right. Focusing on distance over accuracy. So it harkens to the drive for show, putt for dough.
Ooh. Yeah, I think beginners definitely want to see, because obviously if they're watching people, you want the perception is you want to get the farthest, closest to the pin to take less strokes. When in actuality, you want to be accurate with your throws, because then you can still, because if you're going out muscling, pulling through, you're more than likely going to throw far,
Right.
but be off your target, off your course, off the fairway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can agree with that.
So the number one differentiating factor in disc golf winning is strokes gained off tee.
Yeah.
So that has to do with distance and accuracy.
True.
So number 4, I would say, is maybe a bit of both.
Okay. Yeah.
But as a beginner, I'm going to have to disagree if we're just talking about focus on distance over accuracy. Focus on distance. Here's the reason why. That is the quickest thing that you're going to be able to build and gain as a disc golfer, a new disc golfer. You're going to gain, feet after feet after feet,
right,
every time you go out and throw, because you're going to start to learn the form, start to flatten the disc out. You're going to start doing things like that. And that is what's going to hook you, is seeing that disc fly 300 feet for the first time, fly 400 feet for the first time, for Pete's sake. I mean, and for some people, it's 500 feet for the first time. You know, I've seen some people that can throw 500 feet.
That brings up something
but they can't putt 20,
Yeah.
But that's the ones that you get stuck there. Like, you love the sport because you see it. So in my humble opinion, freaking throw far, man. Have fun with it. Like, throw as hard as you can.
It's supposed to be fun.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But whatever tickles your pickle, like, go for. Is that appropriate?
Sure.
Whatever tickles your pickle, just go for it, man. Have fun with it. So, but if you're wanting to be like a top 10 disc golfer, yeah, focus on accuracy, But, all right, number 5, bad throwing form. Of course.
Yep.
I don't think there's much else to talk about that. Of
No,
course.
there's not.
Have you ever picked up a basketball for the very first time and just like Kobe, No. Like, do you pick up a golf club and you're like Tiger? No. Like, just takes time.
Yeah.
Just takes time. So this is kind of a weird one. Overthrowing shots or throwing too hard. I think it goes back to the, 2 questions ago? Like, everybody wants to throw the disc hard. Throw it really hard.
Right.
I never had that problem with throwing shots. I was always the guy that was too short.
Same.
Trying to put it in the basket instead of through the basket.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something to be said about judging power.
Oh, for sure.
With shots, it's like, if you're going to go, you can't go full bore every time or 95% every time. You have to learn touch. I think maybe that's, what it is. It's like overthrowing is just learning.
Or you could go back to number 2 and number 3, throwing too many discs and just find yourself a berg.
True.
And then you don't have a problem. There's no way you can throw it too far.
That's spoken like a shop owner. Just go buy a Berg.
Just go buy a Berg. Not adjusting for conditions. So understanding wind, temperature, uphill, downhill, elevation.
Elevation, yeah. That's a big one.
That is big because you don't realize when you stand and throw a T-bird in Wisconsin and then you go to Denver, the difference in those discs.
Oh, yeah.
They're completely two different discs. Like, it's not a different disc. I mean, you take the exact same disc, put it in your backpack, go to Denver, take that disc out, and it's going to fly like a felon. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Winds are big ones. Winds are hard to understand.
Yeah.
Once you get them, then you can use them for your advantage. And there are some winds that you just can't do much in, right?
True.
Because if you're a right-hand, backhand player, a tail left to right is going to do nothing for you.
Right.
There's nothing that's going to help you there. It's only going to push your disc offline or smash into the ground.
Yep.
There's nothing that thing is going to do for you. Whereas, you figure out like, ooh, in a headwind, if I throw a little more stable, man, I can get this thing going somewhere. Or a tailwind, if I throw less understable and get it up in the air, it'll go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's some cool stuff. Cold, and that's more plastic type. It is good to know plastic types in cold because you can shatter a lot of discs.
Oh, yeah.
In the cold. Done it many times. But only Innova, believe it or not. I've never broken any disc but an Innova disc.
That is funny you say that because I've only seen Innova DX plastic pretty much get shattered.
Champion, too.
Champion, yeah.
Yep. And I've seen when Tyler used to play, he had those McPros.
Yeah.
Dude, they would shatter all the time.
Right.
All the time. So, yeah, there you go. And one of the suggestions is to caddy up. So take someone with you that knows what they're doing, and they can kind of walk you through it.
Sure.
Of course. So weight, there are rules. So not understanding the rules before you go out and play. So stance, 10-meter rule, out of bounds, those type of things. And then not stepping through, no foot faults inside the, circle.
I feel like if you're somebody that's new, that's just going out to like learn to play, but then you want to get into playing with leagues, playing with friends, then you can kind of adapt the rules as you go, right? I mean,
yeah, you're just out there to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that men make taking women out is they try to just like
mansplain stuff right away.
Yes. You got to do it this way. You got to do it. No, how about you just have fun with them?
Yeah.
Tell them they do it well. Tell them how pretty they look when they're throwing. Like your huck face is cute. Have fun. Just go out and have fun. Let them play. Let them throw a disc. If they're doing something egregious like throwing it towards a group of people, okay, say something.
Yeah.
But outside of that, who cares? Like, really, All right, ready? Practice is number 9. So basket in your yard, putting practice, field work, all those things.
Okay. I guess it depends how serious you want to be about it. Obviously you're going to gain more distance, the more field work you have, better you can gauge your accuracy, all that stuff. Putting practice is, it is tedious, right?
Yes.
We all know it's tedious, but I think that's where you can gain a lot of strokes, right?
And you can make it fun.
You can.
There's some games out there that are pretty good. And there's even some apps that are really good. And, talk crap with your friends and do stuff like that. Like if you have buddies you can play with, just like oh, this is my score I got today. What'd you get? Have fun with it. But you're right. Putting practice sucks.
Yeah.
Like it is tedious. It's arduous. It's but the one thing that I have to say, the biggest improvement I ever made in my game was putting. And I was good, and I got pretty darn good when I started putting.
Okay.
And that was basically based on, I went to Vegas, and I, Gentlemen's Club, and I missed so many putts. And then my Rhino rolled away so many different times that I was like, I got to fix this putt. And the next year, I putted either in my backyard in Sister Bay. It was in my backyard in Sister Bay. I putted probably 30 or 40 times every day.
Yeah.
30, 40 putts every day. And then I would do upshots as well. 30, 40 upshots every day. And I did that for probably 6-8 months straight. And my putt now, like, give me a couple warm-ups, and I'm usually, it doesn't matter how long I'm off. Like, that's in it now.
Yeah.
I just have that memory now. It takes a little bit to get back, and then all of a sudden I got my putt back.
Right.
So, and then I can stand in front of a putt from 40 out, and I feel pretty confident at it, you know? Not saying I'm going to make them, but I feel confident.
Okay.
And that's a big thing. So, number 10, only playing solo.
Oh.
So saying that's a negative thing to do.
Huh. But what if you don't have friends?
Yeah. Well, and see, this is weird. So it does say only playing solo. So the only way you're going to be better is to play. Whether you practice putting, doing field work, or whatever, just get out there and play. So they're saying that only playing solo is a good thing.
Oh.
So
Only playing solo? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're afraid that other people are going to influence you into like throws or maybe what they're saying is, I don't know. Because I feel
I'm
like
trying to. Okay, so what it says is, here, I'll read it.
Okay.
The issues arise when seeking friends to play with. Oftentimes, beginners will skip disc golf outings due to no one being able to make it. Play disc golf solo. It's quite possible that you will grow in the sport quicker by playing solo due to less distractions. You are able to focus more on the task at hand and notice mistakes. So the same goes for putting practice at home. Practice rounds, you know, they become a beautiful walk, and you can pay attention to the beauty on the disc golf course while you're doing disc golf.
okay. So they're advocating for playing
They're
solo.
advocating for playing.
Okay, that's weird because if this is like mistakes people are making,
Right.
I don't know why they would say. Yeah, I don't know.
This
That's
number
weird and
10
funny.
doesn't make sense because it says only playing solo.
Oh, so like, okay.
So you should. No, yeah, but their description doesn't lay it out. So
Yeah.
this doesn't make sense. So there is a big benefit to playing solo
Yeah.
because you're playing, right?
Yeah.
I-
Allows
that's
you-
what I say.
Like it says, that you can concentrate on things you want to concentrate on and not have distractions. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether you're with your buddies or not, like, you're still playing.
True.
So I think the thing is, play. Don't skip playing solo. How about that?
Right,
Don't
don't
wait for
skip play.
friends. Just go play.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a better way. Skipping the warm up.
Ooh.
Us old guys can understand this one.
Oh, yeah.
So you young guys don't understand it yet, but you'll hit a point where you go to get up out of the chair and you make this weird noise, go as you're getting up, and you'll be like, what was that just
Yeah,
came out of my mouth?
exactly.
Warm-ups are important no matter what. So young or old, I say that warm-ups are vitally important, not only for just getting moving, but health and minimizing injuries. And just there's nothing worse than getting into a round, and by the third hole, you're finally clicking, and you lose the tournament by one stroke. You know, or you lose the round by one stroke because
Sure.
you lost all of them in the first two holes, you know, getting warmed up. So, yeah, get out there, warm up, throw some putts, throw some discs, stretch a little bit. So I say, why not?
Yeah.
All right. Number 12, getting bad advice from other beginners. I've heard it and I've seen it.
Definitely.
Oh, we have a good friend named Paskey who it didn't matter how much we told him not to putt with a high-speed driver. He putted with a high-speed driver.
Oh, yeah.
And most of his entourage putted with high-speed drivers.
They did.
And then all of a sudden, a girl told Paskey to putt with a putter. He became a really good putter. Well,
Better.
better putter.
Better
Yeah,
putter.
a better putter.
Yeah.
So, but we refer to it around here as the Paskey putt.
Yes, that's right.
All right. So I think it's a good idea. Yeah. Advice is always welcome. Consider the source.
Yeah, right.
Right? Because I would much rather take advice from you than take advice from someone that just picked up the game.
Oh, yeah.
But
Well, it's kind of,
there are still some pretty aged guys that I would take advice from. We've all played with them.
right.
I don't have any in mind, but
As
I know
far as
some
what?
guys that I wouldn't take advice from.
Okay.
That they're like, you should. And it's like, dude, seriously? You've been playing for how long? And you're what, 7 something? All right. Taking things too seriously. Don't be a disc golfer.
Ooh. Excuse me.
I would say that this is good advice. Everybody's going to play the game and be as competitive as they're going to be. But one of the rules that I have always played by is that I will not play a second round with somebody by choice if they're not fun to play with. You know, if they're just kind of Debbie Downers, man, I hate playing with people like that.
Yeah.
And one of the rules when we did the first team at Door Disc was, and it was our slogan was, be the person that you want to play with. And that was it. You know, we just wanted to make sure that you were the fun, exciting guy to play with so you could push the sport a little further.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than playing with somebody and you're like, man, I never want to play around like that again, you know? So I think that's a good idea.
That is a good idea.
It's good advice. All right, JP, number 14. Getting frustrated and giving up.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
Oh, yeah. You don't want to get frustrated and give up. You always want to give something at least a second chance.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we all have bad days, whether it's putting or driving or whatever it is, or you're bringing something onto the course that affects the way you play. Like, you just can't expect that to be the norm, right? Or if it is the norm, you got to fix it. You have to, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a deeper problem, I think. And especially if you get frustrated and give up and walk off the course multiple times and continue to try to play the same sport, like, it's not the sport.
Right. No.
It's not the sport.
But at the same time, well, let's say you are getting frustrated in a round, right? Say you're out playing, you're like, oh man, this sucks. But what if all of a sudden something clicks and like something good happens and you can string some things around and you go on a run or whatever, and then your round's not so bad, or
Right.
you know, so
We've all had those, and it's, or it's just that one shot. I mean, I've had rounds that are just donkey balls,
yeah.
and then I'll hit an ace or something like that, or I don't know, I throw one in from 150 feet, or I get to see someone else hit an ace, or you know, someone says a joke or a funny thing, or we watch a guy fall after throwing, or you know, like those are the moments that make disc golf, in my opinion. It's not really like, sure, it's great to throw 1,000 rated round. Not that I would know, but it's great to throw 1,000 rated round. But man, I think it's more fun the people you play with and the things that happen, those stories you have.
Yeah.
You know, because you know I can recall people losing socks during rounds because they had the poop. You know, like stuff like that. You know, like that's funny to me because you see someone walking out of the. Hey, where'd your towel go? I don't know. Yeah, I know where it went. Don't pick it up. By the way, that is a good beginner mistake. Never pick up a towel that's on the course, especially if it's in the woods. All right. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't worry about it. Not being mindful of your current throw. So what they're explaining here is that you have 54 chances or more for shots. Don't get hung up on the last one. Don't think too much about the next one. Just focus on the throw that you're on.
Yeah. Right.
So be mindful of your current throw. There's a lot of times where you'll have a bad throw or something happens. You get a nasty kick, you get an OB stroke or whatever, and you hang on to that way too long. Or there's a nemesis hole or throw or portion or tee or something like that where you can't hit this gap. And that's 7 holes away, but you're already starting to think about that. It's going to screw with your game. You know?
Absolutely.
Just have fun. Have fun. Do the game as it sits in front of you. And then here's the bonus tip. Most fun wins.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's a good one.
So pretty good 15. I think towards the end it was getting a little...
They were kind of reaching.
Yeah, they're kind of reaching a bit. Yeah, just picking things to talk about because they wanted to fill the list. It's like they started with the title and then decided they had to find 15 things. But it's pretty good. I mean, there's some good facts in there if you're a new disc golfer. And then we gave you little nuggets in there. But I think outside of that, is there anything else you will talk about?
Well, I did tease something the other day
did.
on Instagram.
Ooh, what'd you tease?
That there could possibly be another podcast.
Maybe. What would this podcast potentially be about?
I'm not going to give away all the details.
Oh, no deets. Okay.
I mean,
All right.
it'll be a bit looser. Like, Monday episodes were.
For some of the OGs, yeah.
Some of the OGs, yeah. Planning, hopefully, for it to be a interview style podcast. Ish.
Okay.
Yeah, interview style ish.
And will this be interviews of relevant people in disc golf?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully that's the plan.
All right.
Yeah. We tentatively thinking about trying to reach out to personalities, pros, whoever that want to come up and talk about this certain subject with us.
Subject about certain things.
About certain things.
There will be a template.
Yes,
Right.
there will be. Yeah.
There will be a template.
There will be categories of sorts of this certain subject that we will try to relate to disc golf and explore the disc golf game.
Yep. So words will be used.
Words will be used.
Words will be used. And all right.
Yeah.
So is the format, and just an FYI, I know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
But is the format required to have in person, or could they potentially answer the questions via text and then
They could.
Okay.
It'd be more fun to have them, video
agreed.
and actually talk to them and whatnot. But I suppose they could. I just think it'd be more fun to get reactions and actual dialogue from them. But if they wanted to, we could just have that conversation. They send in, the answers to the questions and things that we answer. But I just think it'd be more fun to have them.
I like it. The only question that I don't know if we've discussed this yet, is this going to be on a separate feed, or are we going to drop it right on this channel?
That's a good question.
Or maybe both.
Maybe both. I think we might have to maybe put a couple out on this feed just to get a feel for it, get some attention, and then possibly, I'd love to have it be on video on Door Disc Golf's channel.
Sure. All right.
Or whatever. So people can see us and whoever
The
else.
potential person.
Yeah.
Maybe. Thing.
Yeah.
All right. So words will be used.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Anything else?
No.
No
There's
question?
there's no real timetable for this yet because I still coming up with questions and that. Have a tentative name, trying to come up with a logo kind of situation and everything. But the other thing, we could tentatively record a bunch of these back to back to back or whatever we wanted to do, and then hold on to them, release them
as.
Yeah.
And I like that idea too, because I know off season is a great time, but also off season is traditionally off season, right?
True.
So to have them done before off season, so then the off season can be filled with less off season stuff.
Yeah.
Just seeing how many times I could use off season.
Off season. Yeah.
So yeah, we're vague on it, but there should be a new podcast coming out pretty soon, or new format or podcast coming out pretty soon. And then there is a potential of a shop podcast as also.
Yeah.
I know Matt and I have been talking about it. I know you and Matt were talking about it as well. So we should be getting that rolling-ish maybe.
Okay.
So there's a potential, but I think the one that we're talking about first with the words being used will probably happen.
Yeah.
Just got to figure it out.
Yeah. And I don't want to replace this.
No.
But just add on.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done it before.
Yeah.
And we had what was it, courtesy violation or?
Yep.
Yep, we had courtesy violation for a little bit.
Or no, not courtesy violation. It was
No, it wasn't.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, that was another podcast. Anyways, there was the other one.
Dang it. Oh man.
I swear it was courtesy violation.
No, it was
Mandatory evacuation.
Mandatory evacuation. It's been a while actually since we've had it.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
It's in my Casual relief.
Casual relief. Okay, it wasn't.
I
Crazy
feel so
Vanish.
bad but it's been like almost 2 years.
It has been almost 2 years. Yeah. So we had that. We had our Monday episodes,
Yeah.
which were random nonsense.
Yep.
And yeah. So, but have you watched any new movies recently?
Have I watched it? No, but I did watch Daredevil, the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Reborn.
How is it? So it's the same actor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the reborn part?
Well, can't really give it a.
He seems kind of pissy.
He is
in the previews
a little bit.
Okay.
There's something that happens in the first episode that he shifts the narrative of Daredevil.
Okay. Because I noticed him and Punisher doing some stuff, and Punisher was in some of the previews.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's only 2 episodes, so
okay.
so far. Next episode comes out on the 11th, so
Okay.
in 2 days.
Okay.
But yeah, kind of slow going so far. There's a couple action sequences here and there, but it's kind of like really building up to something. The Kingpin's in it again,
And the same actor.
yes,
Like-
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
He's back.
He's a
so
good Kingpin.
So it has all the same original people from the Netflix series coming back.
Cool.
So far, the tone of it's a little different than the Netflix. It's just shot different too, because the way Netflix shoots it compared to how Disney has been doing the Marvel series and stuff, like they still
Because
want
they've been kind of darkening him a little bit, right?
a little bit.
Okay.
So like the darkest series they've had so far is
Isn't that Moon Knight or whatever?
there was that. Then there's another one called Echo, and she's basically like a henchman for Kingpin, but like she's deaf.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it at all. Like I saw her in she was in Hawkeye and
Yeah.
that show. So they just kind of like took her off that and like expanded the universe a little bit. But yeah, so far the first 2 episodes they're okay. I hope worth watching.
All right. I still think Ben Affleck. I swore he was a good Daredevil.
And Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, I forgot about Jennifer Garner in there. Yeah, but Ben Affleck I thought was a good because she was supposed to be Catwoman, right? No,
Elektra.
Elektra. Yeah.
And then she came back and reprised her role in Wolverine, Deadpool.
Yep. Yeah. There's some good stuff coming out. It's like fun little twists, but I'm also kind of getting maybe a little bored or overwhelmed with the changes. Like, can we stick to some sort of multiverse avenue and go that way instead of just jump until something hits and we get some money from it,
This phase of Marvel stuff has been really hit and miss. Like there's been some good programs like ever since Endgame, like after Endgame, like so I think we're in phase 4 now or whatever. Yeah. There's been some real hit and miss stuff that's come out, especially like the TV shows. And here and there with the movies as well.
Right. Well, and it's also doing stuff like where they're recycling actors too, where like Robert Downey Jr., is now.
He's going to come back as Dr. Doom.
Yeah, Dr. Doom. And it's just like, okay, you go from the Iron Man to Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Like, this multiverse is cracked. Like, there's something going on,
there is a multiverse. There's something in Marvel where Iron Man does become Dr. Doom. So.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there is because there's so many different writers of Marvel,
Yeah.
I just wish DC would pick up their game because I feel like DC has some phenomenal comics out there. Their movies are not matching at all.
Well, it's hard too because they haven't been. They came out with Blue Beetle. They have an animated series out now. I forgot what it's
And the Blue
called.
Beetle wasn't bad.
Okay,
it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad.
I just got the kid from Cobra Kai in it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Can't think of the actor's name. Yeah, I know. And like he looked like he would be a decent guy for the movie. I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah.
And so like James Gunn, went from making Guardians of the Galaxy movies all of a sudden to jumping over to DC, and like he had the big hand in making Suicide Squad, which was decent. I didn't think it was great, but like he got a lot of praise for it because it was considerably better than the first one.
Yeah.
And there's funny moments in it and everything. And
Right.
It's all right.
Well, and especially since, you can't, like, Will Smith's gone, like, and he kind of made the Suicide Squad.
The first one,
Yeah.
like he was a big part of it.
Right.
Joel Kinnaman, the guy who plays Flag. Mm-hmm. Then Margot Robbie obviously was a big part in both movies. And then they had some side characters like come in, Polka Dot Man and King Shark. I forgot what his name is. Is it King Shark?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but
yeah, they seem like, hey, nom nom. Yeah, I remember that part. Starfish is nom nom, nom nom.
That the plot of that movie. I was like, this is wild.
I know.
What?
Although,
okay,
was it no? It was this. No, it was the first one with the Fire King or that god, the like Mayan god, where the guy like flames up and stuff, and that was sweet.
Yeah.
I wish they would do more with him. That was awesome.
El Fuego. Fuego.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was awesome. So, but yeah. Anyways, I have not. We were going to go watch ones, and then I looked at the listings. It's Sturgeon Bay Cinnamon 6. And I was like, the best part of going to the movies would be the snacks at this point.
Okay.
Like, it was one of those I was like looking at it like, ugh. Although Conclave looks pretty good.
Okay.
That's the one about the switching of the Pope.
Yes.
It looks pretty good.
Okay.
It looks pretty
I've heard kind of mixed reviews on it, mostly positive. Mm-hmm. Shoot, there was something else I wanted to see. I didn't see it because the Oscars were just on. Mm-hmm. Did not see a lot of the movies nominated this year for Oscars.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
It's there. I don't know. There's not even a lot of ones that I'm kind of looking forward to. I was trying to look at what it was, but
Captain America just came out like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to go see that, but at this point, I'm just gonna wait for Disney Plus.
Yeah, and it's only like 2 weeks away from being on Disney Plus. It already has
That's ridiculous.
It already has a release date. So, can I say?
Oh, I watched Nosferatu. That's the last movie I watched.
What's a Nosferatu?
It's really never heard of it. It's Dracula. Pretty much.
Okay.
And it's got Nicholas Hoult, Willem Dafoe, Robert Downey, or not Robert, Johnny Depp's daughter in it. I'm trying to think of Bill Skarsgård. He plays a lot. He's the guy that plays It in the new It movies.
Okay.
So it was decent.
Okay.
Didn't like. I was gonna watch it with Alyssa, and I just ended up watching it one night because she ended up falling asleep. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this.
Okay.
And 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes, and like the first hour, I was like really engaged. Like, ooh, this is kind of humming along. And the second hour, I was like, okay, I'm getting sleepy.
Yeah.
But it was decent.
It didn't move quick enough.
No, yeah, the pacing was a little off. Like the sets, clothing, everything, costumes, were really good. And the original Nosferatu was way back in the 19.
That was early. I mean, just post silent films.
Well, yeah,
it was pretty darn close. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a silent. It was a silent film, the original. And so, yeah, go watch it. It's worth watching. I would say for sure.
And if you want a good watch that you can watch right away, there's a series called Dracula on Netflix, and it's an anime. Dude, it is good.
Oh, really?
It is really good.
Dracula.
So it changes the representation of Dracula. It almost goes to Transylvanian Dracula, kind of more humanizing Dracula a bit.
Yeah.
Where he's not really a bloodthirsty demon. He's kind of misunderstood.
Okay. That's
kind of how they play this Dracula.
Interesting.
I mean, but it's anime. You know? And
yeah.
it's really good. I was like, man, that was a good one. They let out a second season, and I kind of fell off on the second season because then it kind of started to get a little more Dracula, suck your blood Dracula.
Okay.
And I was just like, I'm not sure I like that. But the whole misunderstanding the humanity of Dracula, that part was fun. I really enjoyed that part.
Have you watched Castlevania?
Yeah.
On Netflix? Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one too. Well, that's about Dracula too.
It is. Yeah. It follows the Belmont family because Simon Belmont and all the Belmonts. Yeah.
Yep.
Alucard.
Yeah, that more He's more of the anti-hero. No, he's more like the. I'm trying to think of the like. Can't I think like the monster hunters? Like
Oh, okay.
that's kind of how that Pennsylvania goes.
Got it. Yeah.
So yeah, the Belmonts are like more monster hunters than they are like. But it shows a lot of that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean I watched it. So, but I watch like almost all animes that come out. So, but with all that being said, now that we're an hour and a half into this episode,
Right on.
anything else to say, thought provoking or inspirational quote to leave us on?
Happy, almost spring.
Yeah, we got a little like what do they call it? Indian summer? Is that politically incorrect now?
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well.
Isn't that what they refer to, like having it later in fall?
I think it's just like a warm up before it cools down again, right?
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just like a random like week in the middle of winter where it has like it kind of jokes, like tricks you. You're like,
Yeah,
haha, it's summer. Nope.
No, I always call this like false spring.
Yeah.
Or like first spring.
First spring, exactly, because we're about to get like 30 inches of snow sometime pretty soon.
Probably in
and then-
April at some point.
Yeah, like springtime open probably. So, all right. Well, DoorDisc.com. Pick up all your disc golf needs. We don't talk about anime on discgolf.com or DoorDisc.com. So,
Okay.
with all that being said, deuces in the toilet. Peace.